Wondering how your mindset affects your life? How to bring more energy into your business and life? Millions of people around the world ask these same questions daily. You are in the right place. Learn practices that will help give your life the meaning and success you've been searching for. Welcome to the Charge Podcast, teaching you how to create habits around real goals every day. Practical life advice from those who made it. Here's your host, Gary Wilbers.
When running a small business, you face new challenges every day. There are so many distractions during the daily grind. You feel overwhelmed and frustrated. Everyone should have the ability to reach their full potential in business and life. The Ascend Mastermind Peer Advisory Board will give you access to other like-minded individuals to share your challenges with and hold you accountable. It will help you move from stagnant to growth and give you more freedom in your business and life. Each quarter, we'll tackle a new area of the positive culture blueprint: health, connections, wealth, and even contributions. Imagine your business growing without you being stuck in the day-to-day operations. Imagine your next family vacation and you're fully present. Imagine having the freedom and flexibility you desired when you became a business owner. It's time to move from your imagined future and turn it into reality. You can have it all: a profitable business, impactful relationships, and even family time. So go to thechargepodcast.com and click on the link for your free discovery call to see if you qualify for the Ascend Mastermind today. Welcome, Chargers. We're glad to have you back again this week for another great guest. I tell you, we've rounded some really great guests up in this second quarter, and I'm excited to share them with you because today I've got Joseph. And Joseph, will you share with them what problem will you solve for our listeners today?
Thanks, Gary. So my goal is to talk to customers and solve the problem of how do I take a customer who knows nothing about my business and in 3 minutes or less, get them to want to click into my sales funnel, whatever that event is that is in your sales funnel. How to take somebody from knowing nothing about you to I want to click and learn more.
Oh, this is going to be fun. Some great information to share. And there's going to be 3 questions that we're going to kind of build the podcast around that you're going to solve for our listeners. What are those 3 questions that I can ask you that you can help solve for our listeners?
So the first one is, how do I grab a customer's attention in a world where everyone is trained to ignore ads? Number 2 is to identify what kinds of companies are a good fit for these kinds of videos, and these kinds being funny sales videos. And number 3 is I'm going to run through the 8 steps that we take every one of our projects through so that your listeners can do it on their own.
So this is going to give you practical information right out the gate. And I'm so excited to share with you today, Joseph Wilkins. He's founder of Pro Creative, a marketing agency focused on infomercials, TV commercials, and online video. Previous clients include Google, LinkedIn, and even McDonald's. With 2 decades of experience, hundreds of millions of online views, and over 50 million in tracked sales, Joseph enjoys sharing his simple 8-step process any business can copy to drive immediate online sales. And I think that's the game today. Welcome, Joseph. Great to have you on the Charge Podcast.
Thank you, Gary. I'm excited to be on the show.
Well, thanks for sharing with us. And really, I think this is going to grab people's attention because we're hearing a lot about video and we need to use more video. But the thing is, it's not just about using video. It's what can we do with it? And your first question that you said you would help answer is, how do I grab those customers' attention? Because they've got plenty of things to do where everyone is ignoring ads now and saying, I don't want to see any more ads.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I should give you a little bit of background that kind of gives some credibility to what I'm about to say. So after 20 years of doing nothing but producing different kinds of marketing videos, nothing has ever gotten us or our clients the kinds of results than using humor. For the first 15 years of our business, we did traditional TV infomercials and corporate videos. And we never saw the kinds of results that we're now getting. Here's an example. Our latest campaign is about to hit 100 million views.
Wow.
100 million views for a laundry detergent, which on the surface sounds like a pretty boring topic. But we've driven millions and millions of dollars in sales for that client, True Earth. We've had other clients that have much, much smaller budgets that we have doubled, tripled, quadrupled sales just because what we're doing is we're kind of tricking our tricking our viewers into thinking that they're watching a piece of sketch comedy, but then all of a sudden we kind of reveal the fact that it's actually an ad. But by the time we do that, people are so invested in watching these videos that they stick around. And if we make them relevant and use the 8 steps that I'm going to go over, that's where, transformational sales happen.
Well, I think sometimes the challenge when we get something like this, right away, somebody takes and they think, well, my company won't be a good fit for that. And I think you kind of said in your second question is, what kind of companies are a good fit for funny videos to be able to grab those people's attention? I'm curious what your take on that is.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek answer, but the answer is companies that have humans as their targets. Like literally, it doesn't matter if you are a very professional executive SaaS service that you're targeting CXOs, or whether you're an acne cream targeting teenagers. Humor works. Now, it's got to be the right kind of humor. And I could talk about this for hours, but those are two completely different audiences. But if you write to that audience, it will connect, it will drive results, but it has to be relevant and it has to be the right kind of humor to the right audience. So the answer is, doesn't matter if you're a B2B audience driving leads, B2C e-commerce customer driving immediate sales. We've even done these for companies that were startups that were raising money. Whatever your objective is, if you use humor in the right way, and we'll talk about how to do that, you can drive, transformational results.
Yeah, and that becomes the real key because so many people are putting videos out now, but they don't have a purpose. So I'm kind of really excited to dig in. And you said you're willing to share with the listeners kind of those 8 steps that you take that really you process through to do your videos. And the neat thing is what he's going to share with us, Joseph is willing to share this, how we can implement that ourselves. And when I say we, I'm very interested in this topic too. So guess what? I'll be taking notes, Joseph, as you're talking.
Yeah. And before I jump into those 8 steps, again, just a couple case studies. In the first 15 years of doing marketing videos, we had never got a video online that had more than 100,000 views. At the time, we thought that was a pretty good, benchmark to hit. But in the first 15 years of business, our clients started saying, we kind of want to, we've seen this funny video online, this viral video, right? We want to do something like that. And every time they asked us, we would always have the same answer. We don't do funny. And this was before we launched funny sales videos, right? Because the worst thing you can do, hear me, Gary, the worst thing that you can do is try to be funny when you're not and end up looking silly. I'll tell you how you can safe-proof yourself against that. But because of that, we were terrified to ever jump into this kind of video because we would just look silly. However, after 15 years of people keep asking for it, and also realizing our television results were going down and down and down because nobody's watching television anymore, or at least nothing like what they were 20 years ago, we said, we've got to figure out how to do this. Because the reason why people are these videos run on social media for the majority, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, some on TikTok and other platforms, depending on the audience, depending on the client. But sure, the reason why people are going on those platforms in the first place is to be entertained. So the closer you can create content that looks like the reason why they're there in the first place, it only stands to reason that that's going to resonate on a whole different level. If you just grab a TV commercial and slap it on social media, it's not going to work. So to compare and contrast, before we launched Funny Sales Videos, our biggest video view, we got one video that was 100,000 views. Our very first campaign after putting the team together, and I'll teach your audience how they can create a virtual team using freelancers. The very first campaign we launched was for a very small company with a super niche audience, and we drove over 7 million views.
Wow.
Going from 100,000 views to 7 million views. And more importantly, we drove $500,000 of revenue with that campaign. So we immediately knew we were onto something. I've already mentioned our biggest campaign is over 100 million views, but we also have campaigns for much smaller clients that had much smaller budgets that have doubled their sales, tripled their sales. We had one company that we just launched a campaign about 6 months ago, and literally in the first 7 days, they did 10 times more sales than they had the week prior, and that sustained. They eventually completely sold out of inventory, had to shut down the campaign. This is why your listeners should lean forward and listen for the next 20 minutes or so to these 8 steps, because they work, and that's coming from somebody that has seen every different kind of video and tracked the results. And this is the kind that we have pretty much said this is all we're doing from now on, because number one, it's more fun for us to create, but number two, the results are there and clients come back for more.
Yeah, and video is the thing now. I mean, any stats, anything you look up, HubSpot, any of the social media channels, I mean, all the platforms are going where basically they're giving you more attention if you have video. But it's not just about having video. What you're really sharing with us is why to make it funny, but not to embarrass yourself. You have to do the right steps, and that's what
exactly. And what you just said is a good and a terrible thing. It's good because everyone's realizing I gotta get onto the video train, but it's bad because everyone's realizing I've got to get on the video train. Exactly. And so everyone is pumping out content. So how do you stand out and differentiate yourself? That's what we're here to talk about. So I'm going to run through very quickly the 8 steps that we take every campaign through that get the kind of results that I just mentioned. I'm not going to have time to go in detail, so you can download the whole ebook at funnysalesvideos.com. It's right on our homepage, but let me breeze through the 8 steps and stop me and quiz me if you have questions.
Super.
So step number 1, this is marketing 101. Your listeners already know this, but I'm going to repeat it. You got to do your research before you do anything. It's the most boring part, but it's critical. It's like building a house without a foundation. It will fall. So what is the research that we do? Well, typically the very first step that we always take is we learn about the customer. Now, you may be sitting there thinking, oh, I know about my customer. Well, let me give you a few things that we do that you may not have tried yourself. The first thing that we do is we will listen to them. So we're going to go out and we're going to read at least 100 customer reviews on the specific product that our video is about. And again, our videos, the kinds that we create, are not company videos. They're not fluffy videos that just talk about nice things. I have one goal: to take one specific product or one specific service and get somebody who knows nothing about it to click into the sales funnel with the intention of going to the next step. So it's got to be laser focused. So if you're a company that sells 5 things, you got to create 5 videos, or at least start with your flagship product. Don't try to be everything to everyone. But that all starts with reading customer reviews and find out what are people saying is the reason that they buy, or the reason why they like it, or the reason why they switch from a competitor. On the other hand, you're also looking for what are things people are saying they don't like. If there's a big enough trend of lots of people saying it's too expensive, you need to address that in the video or people won't buy. An unresolved concern never leads to a sale. So what you're doing is you're creating a list of maybe 4 or 5 top reasons why people say they will buy, and maybe 1 or 2 reasons why they say they won't, that you're going to overcome in this video. So that creates your marketing framework, your copy points of the most often mentioned reasons why people like your product and the unique benefits. Now, some people may be saying, well, I don't have 100 customer reviews. Go steal your competitors. What's the nearest thing to what you do? And there's probably reviews out there. If you absolutely can't find reviews, send out a survey monkey to your customers. Find out, why do people buy the things that I do? You'll be surprised. Some entrepreneurs that I do this exercise with, they started the company because they wanted to solve one need, but we bring them back the results and we say, well, actually, that's not the core reason why people are buying. So do your research. Nobody would ever write a personal letter, then walk it to the mailbox and then stop and decide who to address it to. You got to know right from the beginning, who is your customer avatar? The more detailed you can get in creating that, not just demographics of age range, income, race, whatever it is, you want to get the psychographics, the fundamental reasons why psychologically people are responding to your product or service. So again, that's step 1. Do your research. Tons more information on that in other resources online. But before you put paper to pen or pen to paper, you got to know who am I talking to? So step 2, go ahead. Do you have a question?
I was just going to say, so important, because when you do that research, now you know your avatar, you know what you're going after, and it's going to help you in other ways too. So what a great way to start.
Yeah. The number one thing that we crave and that we see timing again is when we launch these campaigns, the comments that we see say things like, that's me, or that's like me, or they have the same problem I have. That's gold, because we know that we've connected with them. And a lot of time we'll actually steal comments from those customer comments and put them in the script. So it's as if we're letting our customers write our scripts for us. And that's just going to connect on a whole deeper level. Okay, so step 2 is the brainstorming. That's where you start with a whiteboard or a blank piece of paper, and you have to come up with, who is the character for this video and what's the big problem that they have that we're going to solve. That's the only 2 things you're looking for, is who's the character and what's the problem that they have. So we say, don't worry about getting good ideas. The goal here is to throw out as many bad ideas as you can. So we will set ourselves a goal of getting 50 bad ideas on a whiteboard or on a piece of paper or on a shared Google Doc, whatever it is. We're looking for 50 answers to that question. Who is the character of this video and what's their problem? So, I'm just off the top of my head, I'm grabbing a pair of headphones here. You can't see because this is audio only, but let's say I'm trying to sell a pair of headphones. What would I come up with as my character? I don't know. Maybe it's a DJ that is at a big event and he's lost his headphones and so he can't work. I mean, that's a terrible idea, but that just came right off the top of my head, unfiltered. If I come up with 49 more bad ideas, I'm going to get 4 or 5 gold nuggets. So you say, well, do I have to do that? Yeah. I mean, if you're a marketer, you should have some creativity, but bring in other people. There's no one in the world that can't come up with a bad idea. So fill a conference room with your team, whoever that is, and just say, okay, everyone has to come up with 5 bad ideas. We've got 10 people in the room. That won't take long to get 50. So again, you're looking for, yes, relevant characters, but the more visually hooky it is, the better, right? So if you look at some of the videos on funnysalesvideos.com, you'll get an understanding of how sometimes we'll go more with a real person, but sometimes we'll create these mythical characters. And so, the question of when do I know which one is the one I go with, that is something I can't say, do A, B, and C. It just feels right. And you want to test all of this on your customer avatar, right? Whether you fit that profile or whether you want to find 5 or 6 of your best customers and ask them, test these ideas on them. But you'll ultimately come down to, I've got my character and I know what their problem is. So that's when you go to step 3, that's scripting. Now you've already got your script outlined from step 1, your marketing copy points, but this is where you need to bring in a skilled storyteller, a writer. Now that may be you if you fit that profile, but more times than not, you want to bring in a freelance writer, somebody who's a very good storyteller, and you're looking to create the following story arc with your character. Somebody who starts out with a big problem, and it's a painful problem, and you can feel the pain of that problem. Then that person meets a person who presents to them the solution to their problem. Then you finish that arc by showing how their life is transformed by implementing that solution. Those are the 3 elements of any good movie. Donald Miller talks in his podcast Story Brand about the hero's journey. Think about Luke Skywalker that has a problem, meets Obi-Wan Kenobi, teaches him the Force, and then by the end he becomes this amazing Jedi. That's essentially the same arc of any movie that you'll see in Hollywood. You want to use those same principles in this video. So your story writer has now told the story. It's not funny yet. It may be fun and it's entertaining, but it's not funny yet. Here's where we go to step 4. And I'll tell you how we do it. We will bring in, on every script, we have about 7 or 8 writers. That may surprise you, but listen, writer number 1 is the marketing copy point writer. Writer number 2 we just spoke about is the storyteller. Now I'm going to bring in at least 5 different trained comedy writers. Now, these are people that I found, half of them I found on sites like Fiverr, that are freelancers that, you can literally go to Fiverr and type in comedy writers, and you'll get people that's what they do either for a living or just on the side. Or I have quite a few stand-up comics, people that literally do stand-up comedy for a living. They know what's funny and what's not, because if it's not funny, the room doesn't laugh. I mean, that's the best barometer for whether or not something is funny. And so I will put 5 different writers. I'll send them all the same script. Comedy writers are not good at writing stories, but they're great at taking existing stories and just punching them up, adding a joke here, rephrasing this, adding something here that we would never have thought about. And if you have the wisdom of the crowd, meaning I got 5 different writers all putting in, 10 to 20 jokes, I've got close to 100 jokes. Now, only 20 of them maybe are going to make the cut. And so my role is to be the keeper of the project and decide which ones make it, which ones don't. But after going through this process, going through the 7 writers, plus me as the content collaborating overseer, we end up after about 2 months of scripting with a script that's ready to go into production. That's the difference between a video that is based on a script that is well thought out, that has marketing fundamental basics that are going to persuade people, but is also attention grabbing and hooky and funny. And that's the difference between somebody that says, oh, let's just kick out a video and it's due tomorrow. And in our world, our videos take 3 to 4 months to produce.
Wow.
So that's the first half. That's the scripting. Now you can do it the professional way and hire a company like us, or you can do it bare bones with an iPhone. But I would tell people there are 2 places where you do need to spend money. Number 1 is on hiring freelance writers. We've already spoken about that. Don't try to do it yourself. Even if I consider myself a pretty good writer, but I would never dream of writing a script on my own. I still bring in all of these other people that I've just spoken about. So you need to spend a bit of money to be able to get a good script and create, that virtual team. The second place that you want to spend money, regardless of how you do it, is on a great actor. Those two things, get great writers and great actors. Now, the video production, obviously that's going to help get better results. But, let's be honest, I'm holding up here an iPhone that has a 4K camera that I would have spent over $50,000 to get when I started this company. In fact, you couldn't even buy 4K. So the excuse of I don't have the good equipment, that's out the window. Everyone has the ability, or I should say the equipment, but you still have to know how to use it. So let's put a pin in that for a second and go back to talking about actors. The point was, I would take a great actor filmed on an iPhone over a bad actor with my $1 million studio. Right? The actor is the most important part, second to the script. Those two go hand in hand. And so what I do is I will, and this may surprise you, I will look at 100 different actors for everyone I cast. The casting process is critical. The good news is it's free. So let me explain how your listeners can go do this. What I'll do is I'll take a portion of my script, maybe 2 or 3 paragraphs, and I'll look at my local acting agencies. I'll look at the different actors that are on their website. I'll watch their demo reels. I typically won't paint it into a box. I won't say, it's a female and she's 35 and she's blonde and she's skinny. I mean, if you do that, you limit yourself and you don't allow yourself to be open to possibilities that may be way better than what you wrote. So obviously, if it's, if the story says it's a woman, then it needs to be a woman, but I try not to box it in too much. So I will go through and I'll look at the different demo reels. Then I'll contact their agents and I'll say, okay, I want auditions from this person, this person, this person. So I've gone from looking at about 100 to requesting auditions from about 20. In today's post-COVID world, everyone has a home recording studio, right? Especially actors, because that's how they audition. They will send me their audition tape, email it. I will then sit down and look through those 20 auditions, and I'm looking for who adds to the script, right? Not who gives me what I've written, but who gives me more than I've written? Who's injecting their personality? Who's making this character come alive? Most important, who's grabbing my attention and keeping it? So then, typically along with the client, we'll review those auditions and I'll request 3 or 4 to come back and do a live audition. So this is where I'm seeing, can they be coached on the, live? Because anyone can do an audition, do 20 takes, pick the best one and email it to me. But I want to see, how do you react when you're on the spot and I'm asking you to do this line faster, or, put the emphasis on the company name, or say this joke a little bit slower. I'm looking to see, how do they respond, but also, can they improvise on the spot? Can I throw a curveball at them and they can still go through it? Most of the time, our final videos never end up flowing exactly as they're scripted, because while we're filming, our actors will improv and throw something here or throw something there. Or as the director, I'll say, that kind of sounded right when we scripted it, but now that you say it, it's just not working for me. Let's workshop that a little bit. And so you're looking for an actor that you can work with to be better than what you've written. Okay, so we're still on step 5 of production. So now we got our best actor. Now I'm going to completely go against what I said earlier. If you want the kinds of results that I talked about in the open, and if you want to really stop people, grab people's attention, it's all about stopping the scroll, right? There are thousands and thousands and thousands of videos that people could see on a daily basis. What's going to get people to stop scrolling and click on yours? It's when you bring the professionals in to make it look different than everyone else's that is filmed on an iPhone. So yes, you can do it at 0 budget or close to 0 budget. But if you really want the results, you get what you pay for. So my advice is hire the professionals. Okay, so now we're on to step 6. This is the editing. Now, Gary, you've heard before the phrase comedy is all about timing, right? That couldn't be more true in these kinds of videos. But a good editor who understands comedic timing can be the difference between a video that we shoot that kind of feels okay, but not really firing on all cylinders, and something that's a well-polished machine. A good editor will be able to, know when do I speed things up or slow things down or cut from a wide shot to a close-up, or when do I take that breath out, or when do I overlap these two sentences? That's the difference between a really good editor and somebody that just follows the script, is you're always adding to the process. Two more thoughts on editing. Number one, people don't stop watching videos because they're too long. You'll hear people tell you your videos need to be 15 seconds. Your videos need to be 30 seconds. No way somebody will watch a 60-second video. Well, guess what? People are still watching 2-hour videos. It's called Netflix.
Yeah.
People don't stop watching videos because they're too long. Let's get that out of the room. What they do is they stop watching because they get bored. They stop watching because it's irrelevant. They stop watching because it's not adding value. And so our goal is, yes, you only have 15 seconds. In fact, you only have 5 seconds to get their attention. But once you've earned that, they'll give you another 15 seconds. But if you don't get their attention and keep it, they'll bounce. And so you've got to constantly be in this symphony of, tell them a joke, get them to laugh, spoon feed them with a little sales copy points. But before they, think that this is a sales video, tell them another joke. It's a constant hook, educate, hook, educate, hook, educate, call to action. Hook, educate. It's kind of this repetitious symphony that ends up being about 3 to 4 minutes long. And people say, how do you get people to watch your videos for that long? Well, go to our videos and read the comments. Time after time, people are saying, I have no idea why I just watched that video, but I watched the whole thing. And that's music to my ears, because it says we're doing it right and we're earning people's attention, not just expecting it. So the last thing I'll say about editing is people are surprised when I tell them we don't create a video. For most of our campaigns, we create 32 different versions of the same video. Let me really quickly run through and explain that. So we write, shoot, and edit 3 totally different opening hooks. That's the most important part of the video, the first 5 to 10 seconds. So we ABC split test which version do people watch through the most. So I've got a LinkedIn vlog article where I show you one campaign where we did the exact same video with the different opening hook. Version 1 did a 1.9 return on ad spend. Version 2 did a 2.7 return on ad spend. And version 3 did a 4.1 return on ad spend consistently, and then sold out of product. So we never would have known that if we had just written one opening hook, and that may have been the 1.9. That's the difference between a profitable campaign and a break-even branding. So that's the first way that we do multiple versions. Then we write, script, and edit 3 different offers. So one could be, click now for 25% off. One could be click now and buy one, get one free. One could be click now and get $50 off. We just don't know which one will resonate with the customers. So we're going to split test those as well. So now we're up to 9 versions. Then we will do the full length version, which is, like I said, 3-ish minutes. And we'll do a half length version. We're going to ABC split test those. We're also going to run the shorter versions on platforms that won't allow us to run a 3-minute version. Now what we're going to do is we're going to edit every one of those. Now we're up to what? 18? Yeah, 18. So now we're going to create every one of those in a widescreen version for YouTube and desktop. And we're going to also edit them in a square version for mobile. And those versions, we're going to graphically design all of the subtitles, because 80% of people watch these videos with the sound off. So if there are no subtitles and somebody's watching on their phone at 2 a.m. next to their partner and don't want to turn the sound on, you're still going to be able to tell them a story visually. So anyway, that ends up being 32 different versions. So we're scientifically testing these rather than guessing and hoping that it quote unquote goes viral. No, this is a business, a science, and a process. Okay, step 7, we're nearly done. Step 7 is testing. Okay, so this is where, like I said, we take these 32 different versions of the video and we work hand in hand with digital marketing agencies that actually do this testing. We're just the creative shop. But what we do is they will then bring us back the results and say, okay, this one worked better than this one. And we'll also go in and we'll look at the retention curve and see where are we losing people. Now, the retention curve will tell you where people are dropping, where people are bouncing. It's normal to see a big drop when you introduce the product because people suddenly understand, oh, this isn't just a sketch comedy piece. This is actually a commercial. I'm out of here. That's normal. We're only going to get, best case scenario, 5% of people watch the whole thing from beginning to end. That's just the numbers of things. But when you've got 100 million people watching a campaign, 5% of that is a huge number of people that are now clicking into your sales funnel. And that's why we've driven millions, tens of millions of dollars in revenue for our clients. So you're testing. And if you see a drop anywhere else in that video, you know that you've got a problem with the video and somewhere people are getting bored. So you can go back into the video, even after you've launched it, and tweak things, cut that part out or speed that part up or rearrange it and go back to testing. So again, it's a science. It's not just art, it's art and science. You also have to test the squeeze pages that you send these clicks to from the video. And there's all sorts of things we could talk about. We don't have time, but you want to make sure that that feels like a seamless process, that they haven't just exited one world and entered a totally different looking world. Ideally, you want your character, your main character from the video, you want their face to be the first thing that they see on that landing page. You want to make sure that offer matches the offer that was offered in the video. So you got to create at least 3 different landing pages for the 3 different offers. So all kinds of things around testing. And then step 8, this is where I'm about to break everyone's hearts. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. Step 8 is forget going viral. Now, what do I mean by that? If I was to say to you, go out and get struck by lightning, how would you do it? You don't know. I mean, you could probably look on the weather satellite and see where the storms are, but you're still not going to know where the lightning is going to strike. Everything that I've described today is not about going viral. When I say viral, I mean organically viral. You just don't create a video, upload it to YouTube, and expect 100 million views. That never happens. Here's how we work. We look at things kind of like if I was to say to you, I'm going to build you a magical vending machine. It's full of $100 bills. It never runs out, and it only costs $20 to use. How many times are you going to want to use that machine?
Forever.
Exactly. That's what we do. We create videos that when people spend that $20 to put it on Facebook, to run it as an ad, or to put it on YouTube or Snapchat or Instagram, wherever, it's all about creating a video that is fueled with paid ads, but converts at a much higher rate than anything that you're currently doing. So that's why we literally have clients that are very sophisticated, that when we do nothing differently than swap out their creative with ours, we've seen return on ad spends double, triple, quadruple, because it's connecting with people, keeping their attention, but all the while adding value and creating the interest for them to click into that sales funnel. So don't think about this as a one thing that you do and it's done. This is a whole sales strategy, a marketing funnel that has to be built and then fueled by paid ads. So that was a very, very quick overview. I know it probably didn't sound that quick, but again, if anyone wants the details, download the free ebook. It's called How to Make a Funny Sales Video Without Hiring Us, and you can get it at funnysalesvideos.com.
Yeah, and we'll have all that in show notes. Joseph's been willing to share that. So we'll have it in show notes at chargepodcast.com, because we know a lot of you are very active and busy there. There's so many things. I think the biggest thing takeaway is that power of using humor and really figuring out for your business, what does it mean for your business? And Joseph gave us those 8 steps, but with that download, you can go back over it. and some great information you shared, Joseph. And I really appreciate that, because the thing is, we're going to have to be different. We're going to have to look at the marketplace different. It's not just about putting a video up. And that was the point. Of reason I wanted to have Joseph on is because he's doing these things. I went to his website and checked out some of the videos. They are excellent. But the thing is, right away, we're saying we can't do this. He's giving you the step-by-step process that you can do it. And maybe you're not to the level that Joseph and his team can, but you still can make this practical for yourself, and a lot of great information that you shared with us, Joseph.
Thank you.
Well, before we can let you go, though, I ask every guest the same two questions. It's kind of what I call my recharge round. And the first one, the podcast is named Charge. That's a mantra of create habits around real goals every day. What habit do you think's led to success in your life?
So I am a creature of habit. Like there's no two ways. I mean, I'm up at the exact same time every single day. I'm working out every single morning. I have personal time for meditation, and I think anyone that's got really successful at anything has done so because they've written down goals and they said, I'm going to stick to this every single day. So I would say that is the number one thing that I do every single day is just have a schedule and live by it. That's probably the best way to put it.
That's an excellent one there. And, goals, having them written, because then you follow them, and then having a plan to put them in place. That next one is about a do-over. We've all had failures in life, and we'd love to have a do-over. We don't get those in life, but we would love to. So I asked every guest, if you had a do-over, what would it be, Joseph?
Yeah, undoubtedly, I would seek advice more. I would seek mentorship sooner than I did in my personal career. I've done pretty well, but I could have done better if I had walked in the footsteps of people before me. So I would say, seek mentors, but also get involved more in things like, chamber commerce, networking. I'm not the greatest at that, never have been, but those are two things, mentorship and networking, I could have done better at.
Yeah, I think that's a great one. Of course, I'm a coach, and I see people have, what they find is they have blinders on when they don't have someone that they're seeking out. And it can be as a mentorship. I've started a virtual mastermind, and what I see people find out is they're struggling with some of the same things that other people do. And it really gives you a realization. And then you figure out ways to overcome that, because of course, having one person, one mind is, you're only getting so much, but you have 2, 3, 4 people, then you're getting that synergy. As Dr. Covey spoke about, 1 + 1 = 2. But when you put 1 + 1 and equals 10 or 20 or 100, you get so much more out of it. Joseph, you've just shared lots of great information. Share with them again how they can get your ebook and your website for everyone.
Yeah, it's all the same, just funnysalesvideos.com, just like it sounds. I also have my own podcast where I go into a lot more detail on this. We also interview people, our clients and other clients that have gone through similar process. That's called How to Make a Video Go Viral. And then just final plug, if anyone's been listening to this and they're like, I'd like to chat to him about possibly doing a video for us, there's a form that you can fill out on funnysalesvideos.com, just right on the homepage. We offer a free 30-minute brainstorm session to anyone that's interested.
Excellent. I appreciate you sharing that. And Chargers, go to funnysalesvideos.com and you can check out, and he's got some videos right there so you can see what the work is like each and every time. Chargers, my big question to you here, I always tell you, what's an action that you can take away? The biggest action I would tell you from here is, number 1, are you using video in your business? And number 2, how can you use humor into that area? And Joseph gave us the step-by-step playbook, basically, of how we can do that each and every time. So Chargers, I will challenge you, decide how that works for your business, and then make a decision to move forward, because video is not going away. The platforms are putting benefits for you to have video on there. Static pictures are a thing of the past. So get in with the times. It's 2022. So let's move forward. Joseph, thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you, Gary. It's been fun.
Chargers, I look forward to seeing you back here next week with another great guest. Make it a great day.
This podcast is ended, but your life doesn't just stop. To continue your inspiring journey, head over to chargepodcast.com and access all the tools and resources mentioned on today's show. If you enjoyed this episode, consider sharing with somebody who may also benefit from the advice provided. That's chargepodcast.com. Until next time, charge in business and life.